Okay, I'm trying to record it with my AirPods audio, but I don't. I tried test running it. It didn't seem like it was working, but just in case, if it does, you guys have a recording. So yeah, this is recitation 4. We'll be covering advanced HTML. I'm your instructor. You know me by now. Sorry, which one? Oh no, it's not. It's not. It's just a stock image. So yeah, today we'll be covering advanced HTML and CSS. CSS is used for styling. Until now, we've just made basic web pages. We've not played around with the colors, with I don't know, fancy highlighted things or whatever, borders and all of that. We could do a lot more in terms of getting our web page to look realistic and like the ones we use on a daily basis. And that's where CSS comes in terms of styling and into UI stuff, basically. Yeah, and we'll be looking at how to create menus using lists, apply classes to define menu styles using the box model in CSS. If you already haven't, please go to the folder, Recitation 4 folder, click on the link, download those 2 files. All right. It's going to be annoying. Once you're done downloading, try opening them and see if they open up and see how the web page looks. Again, we're building on top of what you guys have already done, the whole theme, Netherlands. You might recognize this page, the paradox page that we went through last week. In this page as well, we've added an image instead of the table here. And we'll be modifying these and styling these 2 web pages. So let's get right in. Once all of you have downloaded it, have all of you downloaded it? Yeah, okay. So yeah, the first thing, yeah, CSS. What is CSS? CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets, and it's used for styling HTML documents. There are 2 ways of doing it, inline and having separate documents. So we'll first look at inline. It's again the same way as how we had images where you can link an internal image in your PC or get something from outside. But CSS here is not, you will not be using an external link. Instead, you'll create a separate CSS document, and you'd apply the styles of that document to your HTML page. Or you can have CSS parts of your code in your HTML document itself. And that's what we're starting off with for now, inline styling. We'll look at external styling later on. So this is the syntax for it. You can add style and property and value. So this is an example for it. There's a syntax for it. Style is the attribute that you would add to any tag. So say, for example, if you have a body tag or an anchor tag, you can add this to any tag you want. And property is the type of property that you want it to do. And there are multiple properties here. You can go through W3 schools. It lists everything. Today, we'll be using the float property mainly. And what float does is it'll actually be beneficial for your assignment 3 as well. If you guys have gone through your assignment 3, it has an image and text running through beside the image. So float just basically does that. You can align your image either to the left or to the right, and you can have image flowing around it. So that's what float means. And value is either left align or right align or stuff like that. So now this will be your first task. Open up Netherlands r4.html in your browser. On your browser, my bad. I meant open it in your Visual Studio Code and use the tag that we just saw. Again, you guys don't have to wait for me. Please feel free to do the task by yourself, because the final task, you'll have to do it by yourself and you have an extra credit for it. And as always, please create a folder for the stuff you're working together with to group it. Even if you don't have a naming convention, it's fine. But always group it together the stuff that are relevant and make a folder out of it. You guys should know how to open your files by now in Visual Studio Code. Let's go back to the presentation. Yep, Netherlands map image. So yeah, we saw the image here, which was the Netherlands image, and we saw the table right underneath the image in the web page. I'll show you how it looks. Yeah, so you see the, again, if it's too small for you guys, I hope it's visible. We see the image and we see the table underneath the image, but ideally we want them side by side. We want text or table side by side to the image here in demographics. And that's how we do this. So in the image tag, where we have height, SRC, and whatever, add another attribute, style. And we saw what to do. So we're using the float type. And so what would you want to do here? So would you want the image to be on the left and the table on the right, or image on the right and table on the left, which is kind of like wrapping around the image? It makes sense to have the image on the left and the text on the right because your assignment does the same. I'm sorry, let me just finish it. So do that. Float is your type, and it automatically gives you all the possible things you can do. Oh, sorry. Can you see it now? Visible? Is it visible? Good. Yeah, so I'm going to do left here. So file, save, and see what happens. This is exactly what your assignment asks you to do, right? Your assignment 3, but you don't need this for your assignment 3. There are a few sections which have this recitation on Thursday and Friday, and they're just doing it with the hint that I gave you guys. You can do that as well, but there's something you can use. Ideally, I would want you to use that and not this. This is for assignment 4. So save this for assignment 4. And yeah, yep. You can do, again, style applies for anything you want. Style is the CSS part of HTML. You can, I'll show you, you'll get it out clarified later on. Good question. So yes, see what we're doing here. We're putting float left for the image. We're not doing it for the table. But the table goes from the bottom to the right. Do you understand? So whatever you do for the style attribute, when you say float left, you're saying align my image to the left. I'll show you what happens when you move to the right. That's how you'll understand it better, right? When I say to the right, the float right part just means just describes the alignment of the image. It doesn't talk about anything about the table at all. But the float attribute is what mentions that, oh, it says float basically means wrap my text or table or whatever is after my image around my image. You get it? So the other space is left on the side of my image, either side, whether it's left or right, wrap my table or text around it. It can be anything you want. It can even be another image, right? But float for the image here, do you see it? I put right now. So just wrapping it around whichever way you want it to be. So if I wanted the table to go to the right as well, I would put float style float right on the table as well. Do you get it? It's if you wanted your, so now my table is here. What if I want my table right here, right next to my image? You do that, right? Yep. This is what we use for assignment. No, you're not meant to use this. It was, you're not, you're meant to use only the stuff that we did for assignment 3 until last week for assignment 3, right? So there's another way. That's exactly why I put out the announcement. I said a lot of people have actually submitted, believe it or not, they've submitted assignment 3. So how would they do it without knowing CSS? There are ways to do it without using CSS. I would suggest you guys try it out And if you cannot, then yeah, your last cause shot have PSS as your backup, but I would not suggest using CSS for that because you have another assignment that covers CSS fully. Yep. Because yes, but the whole concept of the assignment was for you to use another thing that we learned before it so that you understand that better, right? We're trying to learn here. I mean, if you want to do it for the grades, yeah, go ahead. I'm not saying no, but if you want to learn something that we already did, you so basically it's pretty fascinating if you think about it in terms of I suggested you guys use tables for doing that, right? That's basically what my hint said in my announcement. If you read my announcement, my hint said suggest thinking about tables in a different way as to get things to align side by side. That's a, if you ask me, it's an interesting way of using table instead of just putting in tabular content. Yep. Don't give it away. You're not supposed to give it away, right? So we want people to think and work. Yeah. So it's a different way of thinking about it. So try working on it. If you cannot, again, I'm not going to reduce credits for CSS. I'll give you full credits, but I'm just saying it adds more value to this course and for yourself as well if you try using that instead. Yeah, so that's that. Let's put this back onto left. Okay. Yeah, that was the first task. We're already 15 minutes in. So the next task is changing the background color and text color. Until now, again, our web pages have been boring. They've just been white, plain old white web pages with black text, which is not ideal. So let's try to do that. Let's try to change the background color and the text color. And the syntax for that is, again, whatever you want to change, it'll always be style equal to here background color mentions the background color attribute, it changes the background color attribute to black. And semicolon is when you're separating two things, when you're doing multiple style things at once, you'd separate them by semicolon. You can also put it here. So general good practice would be to just put them right after you have a styling thing, right? Even though we don't have anything here, but I'll show you how it works for the body tag. Let's do it for the body tag. Let's do style. We want background color. See, it automatically just gives me a semicolon so that I can have another thing going on as well. I'll do color. So another interesting thing that a Visual Studio Code does is it just shows you the colors by itself, and it shows like the color spectrum here as well. You can choose from the entire RGB spectrum. So background, oh, what do we do? Background color black and color. We want text is yellow. So change this to background color yellow. And color is basically a text color as black. Do file save. Go back to your page, reload it. Oh, I think I did it in the reverse order. Background color, oh yeah, background color was supposed to be black. My bad. It doesn't matter. I mean, you can do anything you want, but it looks equally bad. Black and yellow text. That's really stark, right? You can see the highlighted thing of it. Yeah. So this is the second task where we change the body of the entire web page we change the body color and the background color, the text color and the background color. So now let's do another task. Instead of doing this individually in your as a part of your body, where we change like the table or whatever image, you can do this as a part of your meta. So your metadata of your file is always in your head, as we already spoke about. So in your head tag, you can mention a style part where you just mention body color equal to lime or whatever, and it just does that, right? So let's go back to our page. Let's delete whatever we changed. Let's delete the two style things that we did. We changed it there and here, right? We changed it in the image as well. Let's delete it. File save. It should go back to its original state. I hope you guys are keeping up with me. No, it's just, you can just do Control Z instead of doing that. A couple of times you do Control Z, it'll just take everything off, right? So just basically undo whatever you did. Go back to the original file. This is how the original file was. And now in your head is the metadata of your file again. Here you mention style. You open up the style attribute, and within that, you want your body, the same thing that we did. We changed the body, the background color to black, and the text to whatever, yellow. You can do the same here with the style attribute. Let's see how to do it. This is the syntax for doing it. So you'd open the style tag in your head, and you would have whatever you want. So here we want the body's color to change to lime. And yeah, I just do this. You'd say body enclosed within those curly brackets, color. And again, you don't have to put it here, but it's generally good practice, because if I want to do background color, I would do semicolon background color. Do you get it? So that's why I put the semicolon there. It's good practice to have, but you don't need it if you're just using it for one. What do you mean by you? We're going to go through it. I'll mention it again. There's a tiny aspect that I go through right after this, which will clarify it out. Good question again. Save, reload. Now it's like lime color text in a white background, right? So like you said, what if we do both? We did the style attribute in body here before, right? And we're doing essentially the same thing here. We're changing the body's text to lime. But what if we did that here as well? What do you think will happen? A wild guess. What do you think will happen? So I do this here as well. Wait. Let me finish. Border color. Oh, what was it? Sorry, background. Was it black? Did we do black? Yeah, black, and color was yellow, right? What do you think will happen? Before you try it out, have a wild guess. What do you think will happen? So now we say body is lime in color here, and here we say body has background color black and color yellow. What do you think this will do? No. So this is ideally what we call a conflict, right? So there's a conflict here. We're saying background's color is lime, and I'll show you what happens before it goes back to what it was. So there's a conflict here. It basically, we're saying I want the text to be lime in color and also yellow in color, right? So the way conflicts are resolved in HTML is it goes to the nearest part of wherever it is. So you're using the body here, and where do you think the body tag starts? So the body part has, again, I don't think I'm doing a good job explaining this. Let me go back to the PPT and show you. So yeah, so when you have two conflicting styles, it always picks the closest style as the winner. So here your body tag is your closest style to your entire structure of the document, right? Instead, if I had say, okay, let's say, how do I show this? What is the closest to body? Okay, say I had okay, I'll do this. Okay, what do you think happens now? This is exactly what I was trying to do. So here we're saying in style, we're saying the P tag, the paragraph tag, has a color line. But when I'm using the P tag here, again, as you asked, style can be used for anything. Just put it as a part of your tag. It's just a styling attribute. Almost every tag has a styling attribute. Every tag that can deal with text has a styling attribute. So here I'm saying the color of my text should be red, but here I'm saying it has to be lime. So what do you think will win? The closest one always wins. Here, since my text here is P, is inside the P that I'm enclosing, and the closest definition of the style attribute to my P tag is here, my red will win. So when I file save, and when I reload, my text will be red in color. Do you see that? I did it only for this first paragraph. The closest definition will always win over the global one. So when you mention something in head, it's your metadata of your entire file, and it's global. It's for your entire document. And so wherever I use P tag, it would change. It should ideally change the color to lime. But your closest definition will always win. Your closest definition here is right next to the paragraph, and I'm saying it has to be red, and that wins. What do you mean? Oh yeah, you basically did not change the body tag. I removed the stuff, yep, to make it seem like to differentiate between those two. So yeah, always remember this, the closest style tag always wins. The closest style definition always wins. So now let's add style to a particular tag. Okay, I just almost showed you that, but yeah. So this is the syntax for adding style to a particular text. We would use the span attribute and style over the text to be formatted enclosed within span again. Yeah, so let's see how to do it. Locate the wording Ardennes Mountains in geographical data section of the Netherlands page. Change the mentioned words. One of you came up with a question. You had a font issue. I forgot. Right before class. One of you came up with it. Oh yeah, I think you, right? I'm sorry, what's your name again? Mo. You came up with an issue with the font, right? Font of your web page. So we'll be looking at that now. You can basically change font using span attribute, and yeah, we'll see how that works. So again, in your go back to your page, locate Ardennes Mountains. First, try doing it. I won't do it this time. You try doing it, and let me know if it works. Let this be a task. Find Ardennes Mountains in geographical data. I'll show you where it is. I think it should be geographical data. Let's remove this. Geographical data. Okay. Yeah. It should be in line 16 for all of you. And I enclose this within the span tag, as we saw. Here we see span style, and you have the same style way you apply, and you have /span, and the text to be formatted in between. So ideally, your Ardennes Mountains would be right in between those two span tags, and you'd have style, and change the mentioned words so that they're displayed with the color red and font Arial. And how would you do this? Try doing it by yourself. You know how to change the color. You would just do style color equal to color red. And to change the font, you would use font family Arial. And between those two, again, you have to separate them within the semicolon, because when you use multiple things in the same thing, you separate them using semicolon. Let's see how to do it. Span style equal to color red font. Is it font family? Yeah. Font family. Oh. Font family Arial. Yep. That would be it. I think I took off Ardennes by mistake. Yeah, so this is how it should look. Sorry? No, we just want Ardennes Mountains within those two tags. Wait, what do we do? Why is it line? Oh, we didn't remove this. Yeah, we didn't remove this definition. Remove that as well. I mean, but you can have it. You can still see it. It's still visible. So you can see that we've mentioned wherever we use the paragraph tag, we want the text in line color. But for this particular part, we're using span style equal to. So just Ardent Mountains is red in color, as you can see. And we're changing the font to Arial as well. And you can see the difference in font between these two. And I think, Mo, I think your font was already in Arial. So I think you'd have to change it to something else, right? Whatever this font is, you'd have to figure that out. But do you see it? The font in your webpage looks similar to Ardent Mountains and not the rest of it. I don't know if you can tell the difference between this and this, the font. Yeah, so your font was kind of towards this and not this. You'd want it that way. No, it's just again /span. You're closing your tag, right? You'd want to close your tag when you open it. Okay, so let's move on. Creating menus. Okay, so until now we were just looking at inline CSS, right? We just edited our HTML document, and within our HTML document we added parts of styling and CSS components. But now we can define a separate CSS file that would style our entire document. You can just import the file and you can style an entire document with the CSS file. So a CSS file has an extension of .css. Surprise. The procedure is the same as creating a HTML file, the same way we did. Yeah, and again, important for all of you, hear me out, have them in the same folder again. A lot of you seem to have an issue with that, with the images. So I think you guys are struggling to understand the concept of relative path, file path. So just to avoid it, have all of your documents relevant to your HTML file in the same folder, right? That way you're not messing up with the file structure. So again, I'll show you how to create it, but you guys know by now, file, new file. This is how we create a HTML document, right? So we just do CSS. It opens up a dialog box here. Name it whatever you want. What do you want to save it as? I don't know. Styling. I'll do styling. Styling.css. It's in the same folder, by the way. So I'll show you the file structure. It's in the same folder as my other documents. You'd want it this way. That's when your thing will work. So basically, your styling is inside the same document as your other HTML documents. That's how your same folder as your other HTML document. That's when your code will know how to read it, right? And okay, this is going to take a while, so start typing right away. Start typing this code in your the CSS file that you just created. So go to your CSS file. I'll show it for you. I'll explain what this code does, but for now, type it out. We're running out of time. List style type none. Float left. Float left. Li left menu font size. As you're as you're typing it, try to read it as well. And it should, a lot of these tags should sound familiar to you by now. Yes. So we've used the UL tag before, the Li tag before. Oh, bad. We've used the A tag before. We've used, yeah, all these tags are tags we've used before. Text decoration. Display. Width. 200px. Colored yellow, background color 2. dot left menu dot hover. Oops, I lost the image. I think deleted it. Oh yeah, I deleted it. Let's see. Background color magenta. Okay, so let me know once you guys are done typing. File save. I'll show you how it works. Oh, did he not have a PC? Did he not have a PC? Oh, okay, okay. No problem. Are you done typing? Okay. Take your time. There should be some sort of syntax error. Do you miss a semicolon? Working as in you don't see the yellow box. Yeah. So once you're done, file save. And so now basically what you have is a styling document, right? You have a document that defines how your styling is. So how would you use this in your file? So let's remove this styling part. So if you remember the way we defined the name to the A tag, to the anchor tag for our to get our web page to go to a certain part. So instead of the page, when you click on the link, when it took you to the top of the page, we made a web page click when you click it to go to a particular part instead of going to Russell's paradox. We made it go to Magritt's paradox, if you guys remember it. This is similar. So we've defined a styling.css document, and we should just be linking our styling document to our HTML document. And this is the syntax to do it. So try it yourselves before I do. The link tag is what you would use. Use link in your head part. Again, this is metadata. So any sort of metadata of your HTML file should go in head. Use link rel, which is the relation, and style sheet will be constant here because we're using a style sheet, and href will be your CSS's file name, right? So let's see how it works. Link rel style sheet, and href will be styling.css. So let's do file save. What do you think will happen to the web page now? Take a guess. It won't. Why do you think so? Why do you think it'll apply? We've just linked it. Remember, we've not used it. We've just linked it. So we're just defining it here. Let me remove this as well to get it out of the way. Oh, it can stay. Doesn't matter. Yeah, so we've just linked it. So now our HTML file knows that there is a link between the styling.css document and our HTML document. So how would you use this? That's the next part. Yeah, so now you would switch to the Netherlands file, which we already are in, link it. We've done that, right? So now when you want to use those classes, so what we created was essentially classes. Let me explain that code. So each of these is a class. And as you already know, UL is a tag. We use those tags, UL, unordered list. Left menu is the name of the class that we're defining. So this is something that you define. You can have it as I don't know, your name. You can have it as right. You can have left as right. You can do whatever you want with this. But UL is a tag's name, as we just did. P or body, the way we opened a style tag inside head, and we did a body or a P. That equivalent is this, doing UL. And left menu is your class name. And inside you're basically saying list style type none. I'll explain what this is when we go through the list. But you're saying, if you remember the float thing we used in the styling part, we're saying align it to the left, right? This is exactly what we're saying. Align my unordered list to the left and wrap my text around through it on the right side. And li is basically the list, and you're saying make the font size of the list as 20, and make my a tags appear as a block, like a square, like a rectangular block. Make its width 200 points. Make its color yellow. Make its background color blue. And this basically says when you hover over my wherever I use my a tag, make that color magenta, and we will see how this works now. So a class. Let me go through to it. Again, you can go through to the presentation, copy, or even type this out. Add this part, add this right after the body tag in Netherlands. In Netherlands R4, we have our body tag right here. Add the code UL. Oh, I missed the tag. We're basically creating an unordered list here. And right before this, we saw how to add a class name. So how do you think, if you want to, we defined a few things for the list, right? For how the unordered list should look and how the li tag should look when we're doing it. Are they using it size? Oh, going backwards. So how do you think we should use it? How do you think we link it? We just say class, we just use those classes, right? Now we say left menu here. Class is equal to left menu. As we can see here, I'll show you how it works. So let's do class equal to left menu. So that's when I do that, your ul.left menu here is kicked in here. And when I do li class equal to left menu, everything that we did in the styling document kicks in here. So now do file save. So these are the two changes that I did. You can see these two. We're basically using the class that we created. So what do you think will happen now? Will it change? It does, right? It changes the thing to the, but it's still, wait. Oh yeah, we listed it. Let me first see if the normal list works. I'll save. Yeah, the list works. So when we just do the normal list and order list, you want to see the Netherlands and paradox, which are the two things that you've done. Now add the class. And whatever your class says is being done here, Netherlands and paradox. So what your class says here is float it to the left, which it is doing, is aligning it to the left. Float basically says align that part to the left, and everything that comes right after that part, make it wrap around to the right side, right? And that's exactly what it's doing. And font size, make it 20. And you can see the font size is changed here. So now let's do the same for the A tag. Oh yeah, before that, should I go through this? Let me, where do we have, okay, so let's just make this a link then, right? So how would you make Netherlands and paradox a link? What tag would you guys use? Anybody? What tag to make a link? Go on. Nope, nope. Those are attributes. Those are not tags. What is the difference between? How would you make Netherlands and paradox right here a link? What tag would you use to make it a link? You guys just did a whole assignment on it. What tag do you think? You want to make Netherlands a link. What tag would you use? I'm disappointed. Yeah, A. You're right. You'd use A, right? anchor tag. That's how you make a link, right? So let's do a href. Let's reroute to the same web page. It doesn't matter. I just want a link. Let's put the /a here. And let's do the same for paradox, but let's take that to the paradox file. What's the name of the paradox file again? Paradox r4.html. So what do you expect now? Both of them should be links, right? This thing. Do any of you know how to move that thing on the top? Okay, never mind. Yeah, they're both links now. Oh, Netherlands paradox. Yep. Yeah. So the links work. So if you click on Netherlands, I'm rerouting it to the same page. If it's paradox, I'm taking the paradox web page. Now I want to use the class that we just created for A. What are the classes that we use for A, that we created for A? Left menu again, right? Let's use a class. Let's try using a class. Let's do the same for this as well. What has it done? Which is exactly what we did, right? And what do we mention on hover? When I hover over the box, first I created a block. My display was a block. This is what a block is. Oh, I showed you. Okay, so when you hover over, it makes it magenta, which is exactly what I defined, right? Which is what it does. And I'm creating I'm making the background color blue. I'm making the width of the box 200 points, which is what this is. It's 200. And you see the blue background with yellow text. Yeah, colors yellow. The text, I don't know if you guys can see it well. It's yellow. The text is yellow in color. And when I hover over it, it shows magenta. So this is how you would like make an actual web page when you hover over stuff, and you'd add more complex functionalities to it. And yeah, these are the uses of using classes in CSS. So my class name here is left menu for all of these tags. And I'm creating a class for my unordered list. I'm creating a class for my list tag. I'm creating a class for my anchor tag. I can create it for my body as well. I can do many more here. I can do body dot left menu, or whatever class you want. You can name it. I can name it my name. I want a class of my name. Let's do color. Let's say, I don't know, red, colon. When I save it, my entire thing won't become red. Sorry. Why will it not become red? Have I used it in my body here? I should go here to class equal to the name of the class that I created, which is my name here, right? When I click on file save, it becomes red. This is how you'd use styling. You have a separate styling document where you define a class. You import the class into your HTML file, and you just do it. So now getting to the interesting part. How would you make this is your extra credit assignment, by the way. If you all do it, you all get 1 point, 1 extra credit point. This is your task. Try doing it. So I want okay, so first let me read it out. Add a border for your heading famous artists of the Netherlands file by adding, okay, so this is not yet the I'll tell you what the extra credit part is, but first we'll go through to this web page. I'll show you what a box model is. Yeah. So this is the box model of HTML. Sorry, CSS. So the way it looks is the middle part is your content. You just have two parts that you can see: content and border, right? Your padding is basically the distance between your content and your border. The more the padding, the shrunken and more concentrated the content will be. The border stays the same, and margin is the part outside your border, right? So border basically sits in between your margin and your padding, and based on how you play around with your border, the distance between the outermost point and your border will change. And okay, it might seem a little random coming out of nowhere. So this is how CSS people think about, CSS architects think about a web page. They think about it in terms of a box. Your whole web page is a box. They segregate your web page into multiple parts. And this entire part of your web page is basically the content, right? And there'll be an outline where you see the border. And you can make this either transparent or visible, but all you can see is just your content in your border. Padding sits between your, think about your Word document, for example. You can create a border, and the more padding there is between your content and your border, your content gets like more shrunken and stuff like that. And your margin sits outside your border, where you move your border around based on that. Yeah, it's hard to explain with just words. I'll show you how it works, but you can read through this, and it explains it well. W3 Schools explains it really well. So let's see how to create a box in our own web page. And this is what you would use. Again, the style attribute, and you would create a border. And here we're doing it for 5 points solid red. So let's try it out, do the task. This is not your extra credit yet. I'll tell you what the extra credit is, but do this. You'll need this for that. So find famous artists in the Netherlands file. Famous artists. And under the H2 tag, add style border 5 points solid red. Border 5 points solid red. Let's save it. Reload. Oh, I reload PPT. Oh, my entire text is red. You can still see it, but I'll remove this part so that it's better visible. Go back, remove my class. Yeah, now you should be able to see it better. Oops. And so Command S. Now, yep, you can see a border which is like 5 points in thickness, red in color, right? And this is the whole box model that I was talking about, but you can try experimenting with this. You can do much more with this. This is a beginning. So yeah, so style, again, border here is instead of your float or your background color or your color, it's just like that. And your 5 points in solid red is just another attribute of border. Yeah, that's it for today's lecture. And your extra credit is just this. Note the link at the bottom of the page for Magritte is hard to read, blue on black. Okay, we played around with the colors a lot. I had something else in mind, but try adding to your CSS file a color, your color of choice. So here, if I hadn't played around with the colors as much, it should have been hard to read. If it was still black, it would have been really hard to read. Let me do that. Body, style, background color, black, color, yellow. I'll save. Yeah, now you can see it's really hard to read. How do you change the color of this? There are multiple ways of doing it. Whichever way you do it, I don't mind. Change the color of this from blue to something else. We can't read it properly, right? Oh, my bad. Yeah. Yep, just a link. Basically, Renee Magritte, you would just want to change her name to some other color. And yeah, once you're done, bring me your laptop or wherever you done it, and I'll check it in. If you did it properly, you get 1 point.